across the line. Look at that defense from Krasowski, immediately covering off Olivier, but Olivier chucks it down into hell corner, and it looks like he's got a better exit too. They're now going to drag race up to Griffin's Bend.
Yes, they are. Here they're going to be in that straight drag race, and that's going to be Genet trying to hold on behind in that Lamborghini to see if there's anything to be had. Absolutely nothing there between the two of Krasowski and Olivier.
Krasowski's going to have the inside, but he doesn't break quite as deep. That outside is hard to hold on to, and that is why Olivier, a spin though, up at the front. Everybody tries to scatter to the inside. Krasowski falling all the way to the back. Will he get hit? No. Absolutely sends it into Sunset Bends, and cutting back underneath. We're going to go 3 wide onto the main straight and almost cutting across. New Hook nearly gets hooked himself, and thankfully has just enough space to go by Danny Cervantes. Cervantes using that slipstream to catch back up and see if he can keep Kings behind him. Kings has the desired inside line, and once again an over-under potentially no. Ryan Kings now into P3. Another attack from Reynolds, attempted into the inner loop, again, does not stick.
He peeks his nose to the inside through the carousel one more time. They've got a lapped car up ahead of him. When are they going to catch it? Can Reynolds capitalize as he now peeks to the outside? And they're side by side.
If he can keep here, he'll have the inside down into the toe of the boot, and he does. He's got the overlap. This could be job done. If he can manage to get in front and a little too deep into the corner. Schutt has to give it up, tries to square it off, looks for maybe a better exit, and I think he's got it. The lapped car helps him. He's going to try and fight back. Reynolds now gives him a taste of his own medicine as he covers the inside, breaking deep, down into the heel of the boot. They carry on side by side. Has he got the inside into turn 9? I think he might. He could have this one back. This will be an incredible fight back here from the 31, and he's got it. It's closer than he's been before, and it's a white flag lap now. Does he try and get it here? Does he wait till later? This seems like a good opportunity for me. And indeed, he's once again going to be on the inside for De La Rosa, but this will be the outside into Curva Grande. Will we see Laus Stolsen start to come back forward on him?
They got
Don't
traffic.
forget about Iamaki as well. And they're going to have to stay on the side. Oh, no, they come together. They come together, and that's going to send Olsen into a horrible tumble while Iamaki carries on with the lead. After last year's unbelievable finish in the GT2 class here at Road Atlanta, expectations are high tonight. But for those who find themselves wanting more when it's a mere 30-minute event, they're in for a treat tonight. The first enduro of the season will take place, and we'll see who can do more than simply sprint to the finish as we get ready to watch round 4 of the Porsche Owners Club Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Zach Johnson, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Road Atlanta's change of ownership in the 90s saw it bounce back in a big way. Since then, it's become renowned on the world stage. Let's see what kind of top-notch facility this place has grown into. Welcome to Road Atlanta, the scene of incredible sports car racing for decades and the home to the Petit Le Mans. This is a track that has proven itself to be worthy of attention on a world stage. With it being situated only an hour northeast of Atlanta, Georgia, the circuit is in a prime location. But despite its flagship race, in contrast to the real Le Mans, the full course is a measly 2.5 miles long. The club layouts also clock in at just under 2 miles. Packed within this small lap length is a series of technical and challenging corners, some of which can be race-ending even when small mistakes are made. Turn 1 is a fast sweeper which compresses the car into the track, but the high speeds mean that when you go off, you typically go off in a big way. Turn 3 is notorious for its curved entry into a blind apex. Too far inside and you face a cut course penalty. Too far outside and you're likely to spin out. Then there's the unassuming Turn 5. The wide curbing lures you into getting greedy, but the close walls on either side gobble up cars and spit them out as a crumpled heap. With all the tricky fast turns, that's not to say that there aren't passing opportunities. The main one comes at the chicane at the bottom of the backstretch. The huge downhill drop into the turn makes outbraking yourself quite easy though, so be careful. The whole thing wraps up with the frightening final corner. With nothing but a giant wall right to the outside as cars fly through at high speed, it's not often that wrecks are small. Boasting a wide swath of series over its history, everything from NASCAR to Indy Lights and of course IMSA, the main use of the track is SCCA events and driving schools. No wonder this place is popular both in real life and here on the iRacing service. Fans will no doubt get to enjoy many more years of action at this incredible track. Well, DJ, as I mentioned, it certainly looked like they had a lot of fun last season here, but that was different cars than what we're racing today. How do we expect these 911 GT3Rs to act out on the track?
Well, they are going to be lively, they are going to be fast, and they are going to be fun, Joe. The same tendencies around this track exist in these GT3s as do pretty much any car that you take out here. Got to be very, very careful in the first sector, turns 2, 3, and 4, and down through the S's. Always a challenge. Some of your best overtaking opportunities are going to be, frankly, going into turn 1 to send a move around the outside and to go down into turn 10. Turns 5 and 6, very, very tricky. Faster their way to get around there, but watch for the draft to be key and watch for setup to be able to be a big talking point over the course of this race.
No doubt about that. Especially with the fact that they've got that long straight and then the S's. So which way do you go? But in the meantime, we want to mention our sponsors, which includes Porsche. There is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. And Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to OctavioTequila.com and purchase today. And finally, Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. You can check out their website at CenturyRetire.com. If we go and take a glance at the championship, Michael Johnson still clinging to the lead in the points right now, but not by much. Lotfula, Layton, and Brown all made inroads on him last race, so it has been narrowed down to only 6 points between the top 4. Today could be decisive. Jacob Abrams is a little bit of a distance back, hasn't had the best of results, but is consistent enough that he sits within the top 5. So let's now take a look at the race details as well, since we're slightly different today, DJ.
Indeed we are, Joe. It is round 4 of 25 out here driving these Porsche 911 GT3Rs. It is a 90-minute endurance race. That means that there are going to be full tanks of fuel and pit stops will be happening over the course of these 90 minutes. A complete open setup to the car, though, and that's going to be crucial to see whether or not they go for that speed or they go for that downforce.
Well, whichever way Tom Layton has gone, I have to imagine a lot of other people are trying to figure out what he did, because he is now 4/10 ahead of the nearest driver, Michael Ost, with the provisional pole position. And he's still got 7 minutes left in the qualifying. So he could be caught, but we've seen in the past, DJ, this series usually sees most of the time set early, and it doesn't seem like many drivers are able to improve much in the qualifying since then.
No, it tends to be a little bit of a quick early, later on kind of session, and that's partially because it is such a long qualifying session. A lot of drivers tending to go out and put lap after lap after lap down. We may see some of them try to come in and put a hot lap or two down later, but I doubt that's necessarily going to happen. We will have to see, though, as time continues to tick down, and Leighton's time of a 1:17.405 is still 0.4 of a second faster than anybody else on the track.
So as they come around on turn 7 here, onto that critical backstretch, Tom Leighton being chased, of course, as they've also got, I believe this is Michael Ost here on screen, that's trying to see if he can run this down. He's got Travis Brown behind him by only a 1/10 of the second and some change as he comes through the chicane. This doesn't look like it's a quick time for him, though, this time around, so he maybe is just trying to set up for a better one here. As he crosses the line, a 17.8 is his quickest, and nope, an 18.3. That's definitely off of it for him. Michael Johnson was as high as 4th for a while, but he has since been shuffled down into 5th as BJ Fulton has found some speed as well and put himself up into 4th. Travis Brown as well has since gone up into P3. So this is going to be a tough one, although it seems Leighton has the pace over everybody else, as Travis Brown definitely is not going to see that lap count. Other than Tom Leighton here, DJ, I get the sense that it is going to be fairly tight from 2nd basically down to 6th.
Yeah, there's really only about a second separating 2nd all the way down to 12th, and those times in between 2nd and 6th very, very tight, with Ost, Brown, Fulton, Johnson, and Paul Newton putting a good time in there. We always don't see him near the top of the chart, so good to see Paul up there. There you see BJ running his way around. Hopefully be able to pick up a little bit of a draft here, but these cars are a little aero dependent, as I think whoever that was in front of him had a little bit of off. That was Michael Robin. So he won't have to worry about any aero wash coming through the S's.
Certainly not. Or just playing a slow car, as that's going to be a main concern as this race goes on. Yes, there's only 20 cars that are going to be looking like they'll take part in today's race, but as the race progresses, there are going to be more and more lapped cars, and if you come upon someone who is off your pace in the S's section, DJ, that is a bad time.
Yeah, there is really no way by there, Joe. You can see sometimes when you're racing multi-class and the LMP2s and the GT3s around here that you'll see a dive going in right before the S's, but in the same caliber of car, that is not going to be possible, and you are not going to find a way by until you exit turn 5. And that turn 5, I guarantee you, is a place we're going to be talking about at multiple points over the course of these 90 minutes. That is a very, very tricky corner, and with the recent rescan and reprofile here of Road Atlanta, that is very, very hard to get right. You can get that off, and that rumble strip can really send these rear engine cars flying.
Doug Boccignone just improved, by the way, up to 9th place with his most recent lap in 18.552. So nice jump up as we see Ost going by Ting Wan. She's currently sitting in 18th place in that number 20. About 3.5 seconds off the pole, and unfortunately, she has a little bit of an issue there getting it stopped as she touches the grass. So that's going to be Corey Lotvola that she unfortunately runs into in the process. Well, that became a mess, but Mayorga goes on by as we now jump over, plunging down the hill in that traditional livery. Travis Brown sporting the Falcon there on the Porsche, trying to make up a 1/10 of a second to see if he can get on the front row and replace Michael Ost.
Yeah, just trying to get that little bit of a 10th. I think he's going to be hoping to maybe pick up a draft down the long straight. That may be the best way to be able to do it and to be able to get that good time out there. We're seeing a lot of drivers here coming back out on track, like I mentioned, just trying to see if there was anything to be had here in the waning sections of this lap.
Still got time. He could still manage to come back around, even if this one isn't good. And actually, I say that Brown is on an outlap. So yeah, this is Not going to be a fast one. Michael Johnson just going slow there, trying to find himself a little bit of time. And in fact, I almost think, is Johnson, yeah, Johnson's trying to pull a slipstream off of Leighton. He waited for him to go by, and as soon as he went by, he got on the throttle and is now hurriedly trying to follow him. Let's ride on board with Johnson to see if he can keep up.
Little bit of a sneaky way to do that there from Michael, but a good job to do it. Now he's just going to have to make sure he doesn't get too much of the aero wash there, kicking up a lot of dust around 2 and 3.
There, that puts paid to that. And he could come back around to start another lap if he wants to try and do one more, as it looks like, yes, he does. And that purple machine is going to get itself righted and go on its way. Leighton already with the pole in that number 97. Doesn't look like it's a faster lap, though. And he just went by Travis Brown, who let him by. So maybe Travis Brown trying to do a bit of the same.
Yeah, I think everybody's starting to be a little bit wise here to trying to get that draft. That's going to be the best way by to be able to do it. As we watch there, Leighton going around, not setting any green time, so I don't anticipate a one from him. The only times that I'm seeing that are really coming in strong there, a couple of drivers just not looking like they're getting it.
So up and over the crest, yeah, Leighton off of his speed. And in fact, I think he caught on to what everybody's doing and he ducks away into the pits. He doesn't want to give anybody any more tow than they need. As now Travis Brown starts his final flyer. We've only got 30 seconds left. Looks like Doug Boccignoni is coming through. He'll be able to start a lap. Michael Johnson now through his final lap. Corey Lotfula looks like he's going to start one. And I think maybe Jad Duncan going to be the last driver able to do so.
All right, so just a couple of drivers here for it. There's that crust coming over turn 5 that we talked about. Now, this down into turn 6 is a very tricky braking zone. It's a sweeper. You think it's a lot slower than it actually is, and it's really turn 7 that you've got to fully load the car up. It's a little bit larger than a 90-degree corner when you come into it, a little bit tighter than a 90. So very, very tricky to get right as we watch that 300 of Brown, just trying to see if he can eke anything out here.
He is a 10th up, which is about what he needs. It's gonna be close, and he might just have it as he breaks down into the last braking zone of the lap through the chicane, and it's still hovering at 2/10. Could he steal that second place away as he comes down to the line? It's a 17.9 currently. 17.790. That'll do it. He's into second place.
Oh, talk about a mega lap there for Travis Brown, putting it in right when he needs to.
Michael Johnson now carrying across the line. Doesn't look quick, and it is not. He does not improve. Corey Lotfula up next, surprisingly far down in 16th place. Might be lacking a bit of practice. 19.2. He does improve. That'll put him into 14th, but he is the last driver to be able to set a time here today. Whew. All right, so we're expecting what looks like actually 21 drivers taking to the grid. Lotfula was not expected to be here as he had other obligations, but it looks like he's managed to make time. And Tom Leighton is going to be the one that takes the pole today. Travis Brown will start to his outside with a last gasp to try and go quicker. That worked. Michael Ost gets shuffled back into third as he'll start next to BJ Fulton. Michael W. Johnson was quick at first but couldn't improve like some of the others out on the track. He'll settle for 5th. Paul Newton, great qualifying for him in 6th place. Jad Duncan in P7. After that, you've got Mark Rondeau in 8th with row 5 having Doug Boccignoni in 9th and Sam Mayorga in 10th.
Starting off in 11th place, it'll be Andrew Beckner, followed by Jeffrey Shulam with Michael Bolton and Corey Lotfula behind them. Aaron Edwards will be in the inside of row 8, followed by Michael Roban with Jim Slavic in 17th and John Momeyer in 18th. Ting Nguyen will be 19th and Doug Nguyen rounds out your top 20.
After that, Larry Haas lines up on 21st, and you see Federico Del Toro and Jim Walsh, but we believe they will not be starting this race. Federico definitely not, and Walsh is still in the session, but has been connecting in and out. I think he's been having some connection problems, and that may unfortunately force him not to race here this evening. A 90-minute event, a 1 hour and 30-minute race. And let's not forget, as opposed to what we normally have, DJ, there are pit stops this time. The cars are going to be heavier, and they've got to think about strategy throughout it. That could also have an effect, especially if drivers are not used to trying to strategize here in the sim.
Well, not to mention the fact that Road Atlanta has one of the trickier pit entries in all of sim racing. So drivers are going to have to be very, very careful to get these Porsche 911 GT3Rs woed up to get into pit lane.
Well, and track position can sometimes be important, but as we've also seen here at Road Atlanta, DJ, the first lap coming through turns 1, 2, and 3, we often see pileups. Is it worth the risk to try to be aggressive here at the start and get that track position? Or with it being such a long race, is it better to just maybe give it a little bit of space?
My honest answer, in turn 1 in a 90-minute race, back off. Play it easy.
All right, let's see if that's what we see out of these drivers as Leighton pulls forward behind the pace car. Ready to go. Pace car is in. And Leighton has the green flag. He is off. It is a very good start for 4th place. It's a good start for Michael Johnson. He's looking at 3 wide at the start. He's not taking the advice. He is going hard, but now he backs out as they come into the corner. Up at the front, Leighton still retains the lead. Looks like Ost is going to slot into 3rd as Travis Brown retains his 2nd place, and Fulton not able to make good on that great start.
Yeah, it looks like Doug Boccignoni, the first driver to be able to move up a position up into 8th over Mark Rondeau. Everybody single file now down through the S's. Good job here from Travis Brown trying to keep up behind Leighton. He does not want to let him slip out of about a second away to lose that draft, but Ost looking very strong behind Brown.
Lotville is off immediately. One of our championship contenders is off. Andrew Beckner looks like he had an issue as well. I'm not sure if these are related, but this is both in turn 5.
And I said that corner could catch some folks out, and especially early on, tire temperatures are not up to temperature. Oh, and another spin around there. Things going from bad to worse.
Yeah, that was Beckner once again, and it did start with him. Unfortunately, he collected Latvala, who thankfully has 4 drop weeks over the course of the season. But this will use up one of them unless he's got a great run back through the field after this. And in fact, he just overtook Ting Guan down into the chicane. Meanwhile, up at the front, it is Leighton, Brown, Ost, and Fulton, your top 4.
And they're keeping everything pretty close, only about 1.5 seconds separating the top 4 right now. Brown looking very, very strong here on the straightaways. I'm starting to wonder if he's trimmed out that car a little bit more.
Wouldn't be surprised. I think we got the replay ready for the incident with the 6 and the 22. Starting with the 6 here, what happened? Oh, he just veers off. That was bizarre. Oh, and multiple cars got involved. There's Latvala. And as after that has happened, oh my goodness, BJ Fulton had a wreck just now and almost took out a few more cars with him.
That almost looks like a hardware problem the way he went off there, Joe. I'm not even sure what happened with that.
I'm not either. And here's Fulton's incident that just happened now. And he unfortunately found out the curbs can be quite slippery. Now, this is not the best of rejoins. He's trying to wait for an opening. And he almost sees one. Whoa, I think that was Momeyer having to dive out of the way.
Yeah, it was John Momeyer, and massive kudos to him. But we've got to jump back up to the battle for the lead right now. Throw a blanket over Tom Leighton, Travis Brown, and Michael Ost. They are keeping this competitive.
Wow. So Brown, despite not having the one lap pace, seems to have pretty good race pace here. Lap 3 and already trying to hassle the number 97. Ost right in there as well. They've gapped Michael Johnson to about 1.5 seconds as he is now taking that 4th place. Little dip off into the grass there from Ost, but thankfully does not lose control.
No, but that's going to allow for Paul Newton, I think, to be able to get on by him at the moment. But this battle up front, now watch here and let's see just how much Brown is able to close down under these high speeds.
So he picks up pace coming down the backstretch. He's gaining, and the slipstream's definitely helping. And I'm sure if he does have it trimmed out, that is going to make life that much easier. But nope, he's not going to attack. Doesn't feel like he's close enough down into the chicane. Twice now on this lap, I've seen Ost dip the wheels off into the grass. So hopefully that doesn't become too much of a trend. We did hear a little bit of lift and coasts, it seemed, from Brown.
Yeah, there's a little bit of fuel strategy coming into play there. I think a little bit of just being content to maybe be behind. This could be a battle that we see continuing to rage on over the course of the race. If he's got more pace there at the end, he can try to close it in. But right now, still have an hour and 25 minutes to go. Why push so hard right here if you don't need to?
Oh, and Johnson had a mistake last lap. That is good news for Paul Newton as he has taken over the 4th place behind this podium that you see here on screen. So Leighton now starting to pull away 0.9 of a second over Travis Brown. Saw him hassling him, decided it's time to turn up the wick, and he's starting to distance himself. But Ost is also finding his feet after a couple sketchy moments, and he's starting to attack. This could be a good one as the 73's got the draft.
Yes, he does. He's under 0.3 of a second here, maybe a little far back of a lunge. Indeed, I think he's going to do it, but behind him, Michael W. Johnson going for a move on Paul Newton down into the same corner.
Deep into the braking, he's by. So Johnson back into 4th, but that was costly. He's already now up to 3 seconds behind those in front. However, Johnson does have plenty of endurance experience, both in the real world and here on the sim. So he knows how to play strategy. I wonder if he'll be a dark horse to watch out for. Right now, though, he's continuing to have to watch out for Paul Newton, who has not dropped off behind him after that pass.
Indeed, he's going to have to stay behind to the best of his abilities. He's going to have to try to close it in. And for Johnson here, he has got to try to hustle. He's got 3.5 seconds to make up to Michael Ost if he wants to be a part of this leading battle.
Absolutely, which has closed back in once again, back down to 0.4 of a second once more. And thought we had a bit of an incident back there, as I thought I saw a car having off, but I guess that was just the timing screen having some issues. And Tom Leighton disappeared. That was a big blink for the 97.
And that, another one there. That is not good for your leader. That is not what you want to see. And crucially there for Travis Brown, when that happens, it actually breaks the draft. So he'll lose speed when that happens, and he will be more susceptible to Ost behind him.
And this is a very good run now. Brown is on the attack. Does he go for it? No. Once again, a little bit of a lift. So I think Travis Brown is indeed starting to think about fuel early, using this to his advantage. I guess as long as he can keep up, there's nothing he really needs to worry about, as Leighton obviously is not running away from him, and he'll have a strategic advantage down the line.
Exactly. Could be a little bit of a good play there for both sides for him as they go along, but we'll have to see. Hopefully those connection issues will sort themselves out for Leighton, as you do not want to be that driver as well, especially if you're in the middle of getting overtaken or coming around some lapped cars.
Let's not forget, we've seen a few offs here and there as well, that there are incident limits in this series. After 17, they'll get a drive-through, and then every 10 beyond that, they'll get another penalty, another drive-through. And actually, if they hit 34, they'll find themselves disqualified. Now, that has not been increased, I don't believe, compared to their 30-minute event. So those who have trouble in the 30-minute events have got to be extra cautious today, because it's triple the race distance, as here comes a battle with Momeyer.
And this is Lotfula on a little bit of that recovery drive with damage to the front end is that number 22 machine, but he is going to have a little bit of a preferred line there. Looks like Momeyer breaking early. Lotfula easily on by into 10.
Impressively, that actually already puts Lotfula up one position from where he started this race. We haven't had a lot of huge movers thus far with Michael Robin in the 929 up 5 spots since the start, and the only one that's really had a significant chunk forward.
Yeah, indeed. He's really the only one we're seeing a lot of holding station, let's call it, as of for now. And I think that's a pretty good call from these drivers early on. You really don't want to be too aggressive in a longer endurance race like this. You want to see how the race is going to play out with pit strategy and pit stops. Maybe you can gain a couple of positions that way.
And whoever's fast now might not be fast later, too, we have to remember. Because look at the sun in the sky here. It is very low. That's because we started this race at just past or just before 7:30 p.m. virtual standard time. So it is going to probably just about be set by the time we get to the checkered flag. And that's going to be a much cooler track. And for those that aren't very good driving at night, a much darker track too.
Exactly, and that's going to really change things up, and it's going to separate the best from the good here. It'll be very, very tricky to see what will have to happen. There we continue to follow that battle with Johnson right now, getting closer as Newton's not letting him go.
Now he's making sure that he has got to push to try and keep ahead of him. Just riding on those coattails for now here in these first 10 minutes of the race. And Johnson continues to drop. It's now 6 seconds behind that lead group. So his pace not looking particularly good compared to the others. We do still have all 22 drivers out there running. I say 22 because actually Jim Walsh has managed to find his way out onto the track after his connection issues, so he is going to attempt this race. Let's cross our fingers that that connection stays good.
Exactly. We'd love to see as many as possible try to get through there. So there is Walsh out on track. Ooh, is that Lotfula continuing to work his way forward? I believe it is.
Yeah, he is, well, he's not taken over Bolton. He's trying to take over Bolton, who's in the yellow and black. He's looking to try and hold ahead. Nope, Bolton lifts. He knew that Lotfula is quicker, and now he is through. Corey sizing up Robin now. Going to put him down 1 from those 5 that he had gained. And how quickly can he do it is the question. Lotfula, for those curious about the number, is about 23 seconds behind Leighton currently. So keep that number in mind. We'll come back to it and see if he's gained or lost.
Exactly. We'll have to keep a good eye on it as now he tries to work his way by Robin. Woo, Robin looking a little bit squirrely there. It has to be said. That car getting a little bit light coming over turn 3.
There's a little bit of damage from that opening incident on the front of Lotfula's car. Not sure if that's hurting his top end speed at all, but it's on the splitter that I noticed. So it potentially could be hurting his downforce in the corners a little as well, but sliding now through turn 6 and into 7. Last time is where we saw him make the move. Is this his favorite spot? It's looking like it. Great exit.
Very, very good indeed. He's trying to tuck up behind in the draft a little bit more, but he's going to poke his nose to the outside. Go ahead and make that move. He's going to have to do this the hard way, as it doesn't look like Robin's going to give it to him easy.
There you go. Lotfula now into 11th position. Can he keep going from here? He's got 6 seconds up to Rondeau from here. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit longer to try and find his way up to the lead from this point. So great stuff from him. Speaking of the lead, Leighton has now left Brown and Ost in the dust. There's P2 and P3. Brown and the teal and blue, and Ost behind him riding in the blue and white and black.
Yeah, and Leighton is not resting on his laurels here. He just went purple through Sector 1. He is absolutely booking it around here. He wants to try to build as much of an advantage as possible early on. Oh, as we've got a car off, that is the 45 of Dung Nguyen.
What happened here? I think this is a self-spin. Yeah, rear of the car came around, coming through turn 1. Easy to do is, woof. That was a lot of the inside corner cut there, coming through the chicane for these two. Kicking up a lot of dirt, but it doesn't look like either of them got a cut course penalty because of it, so they'll be able to carry on. Oh, and Bolton just got by Roban down the backstretch. So Bolton's trying to follow Lotfula through, and that will put him into 12th position.
Good run there for Michael Bolton to be able to get that move done. That is the preferred passing opportunity. Oh, we've got a little bit of a side-by-side here. This is Momeyer getting past.
Slavic to his outside, coming down the hill. He's got the job done. Great stuff down through the chicane. That can often carry on all the way to turn 1, but it looks like we're not going to see a fight back from the number 10 at this stage. That was for 14th position. Behind them, they've also got Aaron Edwards, who could start to close up. So keep an eye on that one. Meanwhile, back onto the backstretch once again. Ost trying to reel in the 300. He's got the slipstream. Is this going to be enough? He's actually gaining pretty quick right here.
Yes, he is. He's got about 3 or 4 miles an hour faster, but I don't think he wants to go for the move. I think he's just trying to see if he can maybe force a little bit of a mistake there out of the 300, and he kicked up a little extra dirt there on the entrance to turn 10. So could be starting to get into his head a little bit.
Also got to wonder, what does this do to Brown's strategy? We saw earlier and speculated he could be trying to save fuel because he lifted behind Leighton a lot. Now he doesn't have that nicety as we got a car off track. That's Jim Walsh. He's just going to stay out of the way of those two. So without that slipstream, does this force Travis Brown to rethink how he wants to run this race? Because obviously it'll change his pit stop time.
Yeah, indeed it will. It could very easily change pretty much everything for Brown. He may have to be in full hustle mode now and try to change everything up. This is what happens in these long endurance races, Joe, is you've got to be able to think on the fly. You cannot be committed to a single strategy and only go with that.
Well, speaking of a single strategy, Ost's strategy has been trying to pass Brown up to this point. He's not been successful, but this time he's much closer. And is this finally close enough for him as he comes down into the braking? Does he show his nose? Yes, he does. And he's going to send it in deep, maybe a little too deep. No, he finds the apex, but a cut back to save a car making it 3 wide briefly. Larry Haas trying to stay out of the way. Now Ost has the slipstream down the front stretch. He could make an aggressive move into turn 1, but Brown, will he cover it off? No to neither of those.
All right, I thought for sure that Ost was going to go for that move, but apparently not. Now, they have got plenty of breathing room here to have this fight. They've got 7, almost 8 seconds back to Michael Johnson, so they're able to squabble for a little bit. They've just got to worry about letting Tom Leighton travel too far off into the distance.
He's already 3 seconds up the road, honestly. And coming up and over turn 5, Michael Ost still within range. So there, he finally made a go at it and was briefly ahead. Just seemed like maybe it was a little too hot into that chicane coming off of turn 7. Boy, they are really pushing how much they are allowed to cut on some of these corners. And I'm a bit surprised that they can handle the curbs that much.
Yeah, I am too. These Porsches tend to not to like to run too much over that curbing. So here comes another move, though, for Michael Ost.
He's much farther alongside, doesn't have to send it in as far. And I think that'll do it. Yes, indeed, much better from the 73. Brown can do nothing to stop it. He's got to re-rack and try to gather it up, see if he can get that back maybe at the end of the lap.
Wow, and look at all of that time he lost over the course of that move. 0.8 of a second dropped. That is not great there for Brown. He is really going to have to work it to try to get back up.
So back down through the S's. Yeah, it's a full second now between them. I wonder if Ost maybe was being held up slightly even.
Well, he very well might have been, Joe. I mean, Ost was all over the back of that rear wing of Travis Brown pretty much since the drop of the green flag. It'd be interesting to see here what his fastest time is now. I mean, their best lap times are within 0.03 of a second of one another. Let's see what he can do. Though that's not going to help his overall lap time, but you know what I mean.
And this actually is going to give the position right back. Brown easily passed. That has got to be frustrating for Ost. He did all that work, and he did look much, much quicker. He was continuing to pull away every single corner. And will he fight back? He's got the slipstream. He's close. And no, not willing to try and make that stick. Understanding that Duncan may have had something happen here with Bacchignone. Trying to see if I can find that. And I think it was lap traffic, actually. Lap traffic has already proved to be a bit of an issue. Beckner, Walsh, Haas have all been lapped by the leaders. And I think that's what maybe caused a bit of a checkup and a strange moment for the pair of them. Oh, and what's going on with Haas here?
Looking very, very slow. I wonder if he got a cut course coming through turn 10, Joe. Yeah, he's back up to speed. I think that's exactly what happened.
He had a little bit of contact. This was with Jeffrey Shulam. I think Shulam did not anticipate Haas braking as early as he did. Got into the back of him.
All right, I stand corrected on that one. We check in here on the battle as they go on their way through, trying to see what we have unfolding. Still an hour and 10 minutes left to go in this race, and pit stops yet to fire off.
Back to the battle. Brown and Ost. Ost, once again, not liking the look of it this time. Just going to sit in behind there. He could also maybe save fuel if he wants to, especially if he feels like he's faster, because that could definitely help him jump him, then run away, as Leighton now takes the fastest lap of the race at an 18.5, about a tenth and some change quicker than Brown and Ost.
Well, and Joe, all of that squabbling, that off that Michael Ost had, it has allowed Leighton to get a 5-second advantage. Really, really incredible stuff there for him to be able to pull away like that.
Ooh, a little wide there for Brown coming through turn 5. Thankfully, didn't hurt him too bad, as this is Ting Nguyen. And what caused this one? This is out of turn 7. So looks like maybe she just touched the grass, and unfortunately that spun her to the inside. She actually got a fair bit of damage. I wonder if she's going to have to come in early and take her spare car.
Yeah, there's some pretty heavy front front nose damage to the front of that car, so probably will. Checking back here, Ost having another look on Travis Brown.
Oh, and a hard defense coming down to the inside, almost sending both of them spinning down into the turn. They keep it from wrecking. Oh, but now they come together. Brown has to get out of the throttle. Thankfully, he does not hit the wall.
Both drivers very, very fortunate there. Almost a pit in there, it looked like, for Travis Brown and the way he was trying to recover it.
And that slow car, that was Ting Nguyen. Not sure why so slow. I think she was trying to let cars by, but that was an awkward spot. She's still dealing with that damage and has not come into pit lane. Interesting stuff. Hopefully the 20 is able to get in and get that repaired soon, because it doesn't look too healthy. But in the meantime, this separates one of our closest battles that we've had since the start of the race. An hour and 8 left to go, though, so this could change around. And we'll see whether or not Ost is once again able to stretch this out, because before it looked like he was quicker than the 300.
Yes, indeed it was. And now he's got about a 2-second advantage to play with. So we'll have to see what the comparative lap times are now that he's running in clean air. Now, granted, he is going to have to deal with a little bit of lap traffic here. Looks like he's going to be coming on Andrew Beckner directly ahead of him, as well as it looks like BJ Fulton and Dung Nguyen shortly after that.
So let's see, anybody within a second of one another right now? Looks like Slavic and Edwards have a bit of a fight for 14th. Otherwise, most everybody's got their own little bit of racetrack to try and sort this all out. Last time by Austin 19.9, Travis Brown a 19.9. It's just about dead even with one another as we take a look at the battle a little bit farther back. Excuse me, no, this is the leader coming through. Fulton being lapped by Leighton, rather. Actually, Edwards now closing in. It is 0.4 of a second. Slavic suddenly finds his mirrors filled with that number 5.
Yeah, indeed. Just putting in some good times here is Aaron Edwards. Remember, a late season standout from the old GT4s that we used to run. Good line there for Edwards coming up in over turns 2 and 3. Really starting to close in here. He's just going to have to keep everything collected through the S's in turn 5, and he'll have a good shot going forward.
And Edwards is still where he started this race, while Slavic is up 3 positions. So not sure if Edwards had a little bit of trouble earlier or not, but certainly looks like he's trying to recover. And as they come through, yeah, I think he was one of the ones involved in one of those opening incidents, because I see a 135 opening lap for him, which is very slow. He's got the slipstream. Don't think he's close enough, but this will put him within reaching distance on Slavic. Question is, what will he do with it? Ooh, there was a little defense there from Jim, so he is feeling it.
Yeah, indeed, he is definitely starting to feel the pressure a little bit, but it looked like that was Edwards that had a better line and a better run through turn 10, able to carry a little bit more speed. That gap coming down under 0.4 of a second now.
Edwards wants this spot. He can see it up in front of him. He's trying to push hard to get the consistency, to get up to that rear bumper, give himself the chance to try and overtake. Oh, but he was a little wide coming through turn 3, and there goes all that hard work. Another couple tenths lost.
Yeah, another little bit gone. That's the thing about Road Atlanta, is you have got to constantly be on it. There is almost no place to rest here on this track. You have really got to keep on your game constantly.
Through turn 6 and into 7 once again. Getting close to the 1/3 way mark here in this race. Slavic looks like he's got it under him now. He's pulled it away to about 1 second over Edwards. And what was a battle is once again dissipating.
Starting to spread out. It looks like Slavic getting a little bit better of a rhythm there. Little bit more together, feeling the car out, feeling the track, as it looks like here Dung Nguyen had an off, I believe. May have just been letting some lap drivers through.
Yeah, that could be the case. He's already a lap down. And Momeyer's going to be our next one to get lapped, but he's got a long distance before Leighton catches him. So there's some time to relax for him, at least for both drivers. And it's been a fascinating start to the season. We got to remember, this is only round 4, but we've had a different winner in every round so far. Travis Brown took the opening salvo. Michael Johnson finally getting a win after multiple years. And then as we headed off to Silverstone, Tom Leighton finally got his first win in the series. And it looked like it was more of a matter of when than if for Mr. Leighton. And you're seeing why right now as he continues to lead this race by quite a margin. So I wonder if the 97 is looking to be the first 2-time winner of this season, the way things are going today.
He very well might be, but a still very long time to go here in this race. Plenty of time for things to happen. A lot of difficulties for lap traffic. Ooh, looks like Dung Nguyen has had a problem coming into turn 1. Car off track over there. Not sure what it is. This is a little bit of a battle. This is Jad Duncan and Sam Majorca.
And Duncan's got damage because he was the one that got into the back of Dung. So that, unfortunately, has slowed him down a little bit. You can see how crunched up the nose is. Sam is trying to see if he can use it to his advantage. Let's see if the backstretch will be better for him, because I got to think that Porsche is not going to be fast in a straight line.
I've got to agree with you there on that one, Joe. It's not going to be working out. Let's see how they do this. Doesn't get the good run there for the 14. Trying to go. He's starting to gain, but is it going to be close enough for Mayorga?
I think he thinks it's close enough. He gets his nose down to the inside, sends it in deep, and Chad Duncan now backs off. Now, they could see drivers try to start pitting soon. If they've got full tanks out here, then they should be able to pit within about an hour to take it to the finish. The question is, how early do you want to risk that?
Indeed, I'm not entirely sure just how much you want to do, Joe. I mean, I think looking at this, there's a little bit of a gap, but I've got to worry a little bit about lap traffic coming in. You need to find a good gap in clean air to be able to get this done right.
Well, as we carry on with 1 minute and 1 to go, just about exactly to that 1/3 mark. We've only seen 3 drivers in pit lane: BJ Fulton and Andrew Beckner, probably take their spare cars, and Larry Haas, who's actually still in there right now after about 2.5 minutes. Not sure what happened that caused him to go there.
Yeah, still getting some work done on the cars. We see Mayorga continuing to work away and be able to pull away here from Chad Duncan. Just pulling away. I've got to think here for Duncan, he is going to be praying for that pit stop cycle to start firing off here soon so he can be able to pop down pit lane and get some repairs on that car.
Unfortunate news for fans of Larry Haas. He is our first official retirement for the day. So now it's down to 21 drivers out on the track. Dong Nguyen is the last amongst them, but Tom Layton is still our leader as we follow this battle. And I'm surprised that Duncan is keeping up as much as he is with Mayorga.
I am too, Joe, but just remember how much speed we really saw Chad Duncan have last season in those GT4s. Obviously, a little bit of a different change here, more power, more downforce, that kind of thing, but he was blindingly fast in that GT2 category last time out, so he clearly knows how to wheel that car around and doing a great job of it here.
Had a little off for Jim Walsh. He lost another spot to Ting Nguyen. So Ting now up into 19th with that one. Walsh down to 20th, but Jim looks like he's struggling a little bit today. He's had multiple offs. We'll see how long he's able to continue on. There he is in the sky blue and white number 99 on your screen now. Oh, something happened to Ost. Ost has fallen down to 3rd. Brown back up into 2nd. And it looks like a self-spin for the 73. Let's get a replay on this one. In turn 1 once again.
Catching a lot of people out here today, Joe, and very easy to do. Brings it in. Just too much speed. Just brought too much speed into the corner, and that rear end wanted to slide away on him.
Credit to him, though. He kept it from being worse. It's so easy with how much speed you come into that turn to just continue sliding all the way out into the barrier there, but he stopped it before it even got close, frankly. But this lost him a lot of time. It's 8 seconds up to Travis Brown now, and Brown, he is nearly 12 seconds behind Layton. Remember, we're only a third of the way through, so we're looking at, what, about 36-second gap then? Roughly by the end of the race, if this trend continues?
Yeah, pretty much. And Layton just blindingly quick. He keeps going purple through Sector 1. He is not letting up at all.
This has come back together. We thought Edwards was falling away. He has picked it up. He's on Jim Slavic once more. They just lapped Ting, and I think that was Walsh as well. Yeah, Jim Walsh that they went by. So they've been released to a lack of traffic in front of them. So it is down to a mano-a-mano battle.
Indeed, it is. Edwards continuing to try to get up there. Slavic looking like he just had a little bit of problem with that traffic on that last lap. They keep trying to go. Ooh, that looked like a little bit of a mistake there for Aaron Edwards behind.
Just seems like he's maybe overdriving it when he starts to get close. I wonder if it's just a mental game thing with him, unable to keep from getting too excited as he senses it getting closer, the opportunity maybe to catch and pass him.
It's a very real thing, Joe. It's very, very hard to be able to balance that out. The aggression that you have as a driver. You know, normally when you talk about trying to get these overtakes done, you're planning this 4, 5, 6 corners in advance, if not laps in advance. And sometimes if you're a lesser experienced sim driver, you just want to go for broke right away and you'll overdrive the car, and that's just not the way to get on by.
Certainly not. And a little crest here up to turn 7. Oh, that's way wide for Slavic. This is the chance that Aaron has been waiting for. Now he is on it. Not only does he have the slipstream, he's got better speed. He's going to go to the left-hand side, which will be the inside once they get down to the braking zone. This is the desirable place to be, but it's easy to make a cutback into the chicane. Will we see a fight back from Jim Slavic? Very shallow into the corner from Aaron Edwards, but he makes it stick.
Makes it stick and doesn't pick up a cut course penalty there. I thought for sure he may have with just how narrow he took that entrance into turn 1, but a good job to take advantage of others' misfortune there for Aaron Edwards. Now let's see, the roles are reversed. Is Aaron able to streak away, or is he going to crack under the pressure here that Slavic is for sure going to be applying?
Well, sometimes that is a thing that we see, DJ. There are drivers who are better playing the rabbit rather than the wolf in this situation, being Slavic now. And Tom Layton once again setting another fastest lap. A little bit off the apex there for Edwards, but I'd say he was being held up. Look at the distance he's put on Slavic.
Yeah, I certainly think he was. Let's at least see, though, when they come down out of turn 7, could be a little bit of a downforce setting there. Potentially Edwards running a little bit more than Slavic was.
Let's watch and see. By the way, Jad Duncan lost another position. Shulam went by. I think Jad is lacking pace here right now because of his damage, because he still hasn't come in to get it repaired. And yeah, Slavic, he did gain a little bit. It doesn't seem to be enough. I certainly don't think he's going to be just cruising on up to the back of Edwards here. And especially if Edwards continues to pull away in the twistier bits on this track, as now we check in on Duncan. And, well, another one approaching, Rondeau, and the hard charger, Latvala. Only up 3 positions since the start, but he got sent to the very back of the field on lap 1.
Exactly, and this is going to be very interesting here for Latvala in particular. Is he going to try to use Jad Duncan? He knows that car is going to be slower. Try to use him maybe as a little bit of a pick here, or he's going to want to try to get by as quickly as possible to not lose any time to Mark Rondeau if Mark Rondeau decides to make the move here going down into 10.
But it looks like Rondeau's got the bigger toe and doesn't show his nose on Duncan, so everybody stays in line. That Shulam still at the engine of this train as we ride on board. Oh, and there it is. There it is. That's what we were wondering. When are drivers going to take early stops who are stuck with damage to take a free repair and continue on to the finish? And I think that's exactly what we're seeing out of Duncan now.
Indeed, and I anticipate he'll probably be able to make it to the end here, I think. Maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see how everything goes. But now focusing in on that 171, Rondeau under all kinds of pressure from Latvala.
So Latvala, he got one just due to the pit strategy. Now can he get another? This one's not going to have damage on the front in the same way. In fact, Rondeau's car looks nice and spick and span. The 171 coming off of turn 7, and Corey Lotfula with a great launch.
A fantastic launch there. He's closing in behind that gap, coming down under 0.3 of a second. Very, very close here. I don't know if he's going to be back close enough to be able to make the move here. Yeah, he's going to have to wait it out. That is a little bit too far back.
A little bit surprised that Corey's now having trouble with this. He's up to 10th. Yes, he is lacking a little bit of practice as he came in quite late into the warm-up and qualifying sessions. But he's usually so quick, and as he's been so quick here today, charging up through the field, I'm not sure what's being so hard about this group. That was a great run. If he's daring, he could try turn 3, and though he shows his nose, I don't think that was a real effort.
No, it is not the best idea to really try to get a move done into turn 3 at all, in my opinion. But he's certainly here as just applying pressure, and I like that from Lotfula, just seeing what he can get out of it as they work their way around. Still 50 minutes to go in this race, and with any fuel limits taken off these cars, there should only be one stop needed. So the pit window now is open. Anticipate it being open now until about 35 to 30 minutes left to go in the race.
So down the backstretch once again, Rondeau actually more looking like he's the one that's going to be attacking on Schulem potentially, and Schulem even defends coming down into the chicane. Oh, and Paul Newton's in. Paul Newton is our latest driver to pit now.
And remember, Newton was in a pretty close battle there for a while with Michael W. Johnson, maybe going for a little bit of an undercut here to see if he can do that. I can report, by the way, that Duncan did not take tires side by side into one banging doors.
There's the opportunity he was looking for, and as they come up into turn 3, looks like Rondeau's got it, and back down, shuffled into 9th place. There goes Jeffrey Schulem. They, of course, inherited a spot from Newton, who is taking his pit stop here today. And it should be quite a bit of fuel to get to the finish, so we're not expecting short stops.
No, indeed, Jad Duncan's was about 27 seconds. Newton's looking substantially longer than that, upwards of about 40 seconds here as he waits. He's going to be done in 37.9 seconds, but here comes the move. Lotfula hungry. He wants another spot.
Well, now that it's only 2, it's a little bit more simple now as well. So they don't have Schulem up in front. Will he dive it in? He could if he wanted to. He takes it down the inside and then comes back to the racing line, deciding not to. Could cut back, depending on what kind of exit Mark gets. It doesn't look like there's much advantage between the pair of them, though.
No, not really. And I think here for Lotfula, he is just trying to find those high percentage moves. He does not want to take a risky maneuver here, wants to take one that he knows he's going to get, tries to get it there. Oh, Slavic and Edwards side by side as well, going down into 10.
And this is one that has been back and forth all race long, and it looks like Slavic once again is in front of him. I'm not sure if that was a mistake, but here comes Edwards. Edwards gets a good launch. He has a brief moment of thinking about it, but then backs off down the hill.
He's not going to be close enough to really get a fight back there into turn 1. Tries to get it, and he's looking like he's losing a little bit of time here out, but he is going to keep that fight going as long as he can.
Ooh, and off the apex, Jim Slavic. Little slow, but it's hard to pass here in the S's, and yeah, it looks like Edwards has nowhere to go anyway, so unfortunately doesn't present him with what he was hoping for. And I just noticed, I was looking up towards the top. Has Johnson been catching Oast here? Is he quicker than him now?
Yes, he is. His last lap alone, 0.4 of a second faster. Michael Johnson on a charge.
Wow, okay, the number 9 has got a fire lit under him, and now he can see a potential podium. Remember, he came into this race leading the championship. Unfortunately for him, let's see, yeah, I believe he will not be leading it even if he finishes 3rd. if Tom Layton takes the victory, because that's an 8-point difference between them as they finish. So that'll swing it back to Layton, I believe, taking the championship lead. And coming down and across as Ost with a 19.5, 19.1 for Johnson. Let's see what this lap holds in store. A little bit of lap traffic, allowing Michael by. Coming down into the braking for the chicane. Here goes Ost up and over the crest. What kind of time is he going to have as he crosses the line? Is Johnson going to chop off another chunk there? It's going to be a 19 flat, big pickup for Ost that time by. And actually Johnson a 19.3. So if anything, he lost a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think Ost there may have recognized that he needed to be pushing a little bit more, and Michael W. Johnson just getting a little bit into his own head. But rest assured, that battle is going to continue to rage here. Michael, a fierce competitor. He is going to be pushing as hard as he can.
No doubt about that. And back up to about 1.4. Or maybe Ost is listening to the broadcast, and when he heard that Johnson was coming up quick, he turned it up a notch and try to see if he could make that a bit more comfortable here. So they come off of 7 once again. Look at how low the sun is starting to get in the sky. Oh, and we got a car off. Is this Walsh, I think? No, that's not Walsh.
It's Edwards.
Oh, no. Oh, and he's going to lose a spot to Newton, who gets around him. And in fact, he's pitting in. So did Edwards have contact with something there? Oh, Tom Layton ran into him. Our leader made contact. It's nose to tail down into the braking of the chicane. Let's get a camera on Layton. Well, let's actually look at the replay first. So this is the incident. I'm curious if Tom got any damage out of that.
I think he might have escaped with just a little. It doesn't look like he's got any to the front end. I think that was slow enough speed that he didn't.
Boy, he got away lucky there then, because as he follows actually behind Jim Slavic right now. So he's going to put Slavic a lap down. Here we go. Now we can see in live time whether there's anything on the front. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything from this angle.
Yeah, I think he's okay. There may just be
that looks clean, yeah.
Yeah, he's good. He's all good.
Well, as he comes around, this hits our halfway mark. So we're going to take a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll be back in a moment with more action here for round 4 of the Porsche Owners Club Series.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta, round 4 here today of the Porsche Owners Club Series season endurance race at Road Atlanta. And it is Tom Layton leading by 13 seconds, nearly 14, over Travis Brown. And Michael Ost, who was under threat for that third place, is now solidly there as Michael Johnson has fallen back from him to 1.7 seconds. However, one of the fiercest battles at the moment is between Momeyer, Duncan, and Beckner. And Duncan is out of position for multiple reasons here, DJ. He had that damage. That sent him backwards. He took an early stop to get his free repair. He's now got that in hand. So here's an interesting situation. He's faster than all these drivers. He's got to try and make up time because he lost time with his slow car. But how much does he really want to battle these drivers who are on an alternate strategy?
I mean, I think for him, he has got to try to push to get by as we've got a bunch of pit stops starting to fire off here. It looks like Michael Ost, Doug Boccignoni all coming down pit lane, Jim Slavic coming down as well. I think he needs to push. I think he needs to try to get by as fast as he can.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. He's just going to waste time back here, and this is the downside to pitting early is now he's stuck around those who are not at the same speed he is, racing for position. So Ost taking his fuel and potentially tires. Doug Boccignone is also in. Now that's something we need to check on. Did we get tires for guys like Duncan, who's taken their official stop? Is actually Duncan just got a spot over Momeyer. I think John just had an off coming through turn 7. He's also going to lose a spot to Beckner, as you see on screen here.
Yeah, indeed he is. So they are able to go on by, and they've got to be careful. Michael W. Johnson coming up behind this battle right now. He is currently promoted up to 3rd, having Michael Ost come down pit lane.
Double checking to see. No tires for Jad Duncan. Okay, interesting. And that's good. That's something that we were seeing before the race is Michael Johnson now in for his pit stop. Or no, this is... No, that is Michael Johnson. Excuse me. Yes, so he is in along with Momeyer. Do you take tires or not? 90 minutes, kind of on the cusp.
Yeah, it's kind of on the cusp. I think, though, what you want to do is probably not take tires if you're running a little bit of a higher downforce setup. That's going to definitely help you. If you're running a low downforce setup, you're going to be sliding a lot more. That can mean you want to take tires.
Ooh, and poor Michael Johnson, unfortunately, pitting it this time with Momeyer there. Watch this. He thinks he's going to maximize the entry, and then suddenly, no, I can't. Oh, thankfully no contact, but that may have cost him a few tenths.
That'll certainly cost him a few tenths, and especially with those battles that we were seeing him have. Remember, he was catching up on the rest of the field. He does not want to lose any bit of time.
He did not take a spare car. He's got a little bit of damage that I can still see, and he did take tires. Did Momeyer pop some new ones on? Let me double check on him. No, Momeyer did not take tires, so he is still on the same set. And again, should only be one pit stop here today. So you basically make your bed, and then you got to lay in it for the remainder of the race.
Indeed you do. That is what it's going to come down to here, where you decide to take the stop. So we watch this little battle starting to play out here on your screen. Robon and Ost. Robon having not pitted.
Yeah, so again, drivers on differing strategies. And Robon doesn't have to fight him, but he also doesn't have to pull over here. There's no blue flags. They're racing for position. Well, he's decided he is going to take the polite route and just focus on his own race, and that allows Ost through. I'm sure the 73 extremely grateful about that.
Yeah, he's going to be very thankful. I actually thought there for a second that we were going to see Robon come down pit lane, but Ost will be able to get some good times in here, and he is going to be trying to really put in the distance, trying to see if he can gain anything on Travis Brown when they come through pit stops.
Did we have an issue with Sam Mayorga? He's been in pit lane for nearly 2 minutes now, and he does have damage on the right front of the car. I'm double checking to see what elicited this long stop, and he's not taking his spare car. Oh, he had a bad pit entry. The 14, if we want to get a replay of this, unfortunately, you mentioned it at the start of the show, the pit in and pit out is, oh, and now he's even off track live right now. He's able to get it back on without any major incident, but unfortunately, he did not practice enough there on that pit entry.
Oh, and getting caught out there, it can catch you. Here we go to check out that replay. The 14 coming down in. You just overcook it here into this chicane. I bet you touches off into that grass and a big thunk to the outside wall.
And another one there on the other side as well. Unfortunately, I'm shocked he didn't take his free repair, as that certainly would have saved him, but his bet is now made and he's got to deal with it. Marc Rondeau is in, taking his pit stop. So Ost continues on past him. Jeffrey Shulam is now taking a pit stop. Both of them getting service. Are they taking tires, though? Watching to see. And it looks like Rondeau is no tires. And Jeffrey Shulam also no tires.
All right, so it looks like no tires are the way to go here tonight. A lot of drivers opting not to go for them. I think that's a pretty smart call, Joe. You've just got to be a little bit more cautious when you work your way around.
Based on what I'm seeing on the pit stop times, it looks like Michael Johnson may be taking tires. Or no, he did take tires. We did see that. And Doug Baccignone, I believe, in the 59. Looks like he may have taken tires. Corey Latvala, in the meantime, pitting in to the dizzying heights of third place as he tries to charge back through the field. But he's going to hand some positions back now that he is taking service. So where will he wind up now, though?
Well, we've been seeing pit stops average out at about 30 to 45 seconds here, so probably drop down through the field. Ost going on through. I imagine Michael Johnson, BJ Fulton. I think he'll probably be around 8th place or so, Joe.
Brown is in. Second place driver pits as well. This leaves only Tom Layton yet to take his fuel and potentially tires. And in fact, he is going just about to the end of the window. Maybe 1 or 2 laps that he has available here to run. There is the 97, has led every single lap of this race thus far.
Yes, he has. I think to say this is a dominant performance would be an understatement here. Layton holding a massive, massive advantage over the rest of the field. It's really pretty incredible here. Ost, who's already come down pit lane, he's about a second ahead.
So to answer our question, Latvala out in 7th place. That is actually fairly nice. He's got about 3 more seconds to get up to Paul Newton. So I think a top 5 is possible. I don't think it's likely we'll see him manage a podium here today, unfortunately, as that should get sorted out soon. How far back he is, I have to wait because of the pit stops, because he is just marked as a lap down. Instead of being able to try and suss out how far he needs to go to get up to 3rd place. There is Tom Layton into pit lane. Travis Brown since exited out. Travis Brown also not taking tires.
All right, nobody taking tires here. That is the way to go with your leader down pit lane. Now everybody having done their pit stops here at this point. It is now a straight 34-minute sprint to the end, Joe.
Out of all the drivers and their pit stops, though, I'm not sure if we mentioned it, but Michael Ost overshot his pit stall. And that cost him some extra time. Everybody else, or most everybody else, looking between 49 to 51 seconds cone to cone. Ost, a 101.2.
Yeah, so that pit entry really slowing people down, getting it off there, overshooting the stalls. Like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, lots of problems here in this pit. It can really throw off the entire feel of the race if you get it wrong.
Indeed, more traffic now, staying out of the way from Layton. That's Nguyen and the 45. Still 21 cars out on the track and rolling. We've only lost Haas up to this point. So thankfully, attrition has been minimal, even though we have experienced a number of incidents. Now we're losing light, though. 30 minutes left, and we're past 8 p.m. virtual standard time here. How far down will we see that go? Oh, and Andrew Beckner in for a second time. Why is the 6 coming into the pits?
And it looks like he's coming to a stop here, Joe, so I don't think this is a penalty served.
It is not. Can confirm on that. Huh, okay.
Interesting.
We'll have to come back to that, see what we can make of it. Meanwhile, this is Michael Johnson once again. 4.5 seconds up to Michael Ost. The extra time in the pit stop probably helped a little bit, but every time Johnson has gotten close, Ost somehow finds a little bit more inside and just starts to pull away. So I'm not confident, but you never know. There's a lot that could happen in this race.
Well, and Michael's got to be a little bit careful here because he's only got, as we've got Doug Boccignoni and Mark Rondeau going side by side down the backstretch.
And it looks like Rondeau is not going to be the one that winds up ahead amongst them. Boccignoni able to defend, and that's going to get him 9th place. That's not for position with Momeyer in front of him. And BJ Fulton is in again. Do they actually have limited fuel here? Is this, did we miss a trick and they're actually needing to take 2 stops?
Maybe. I'm not entirely sure. This second round of stops seeming to be a little bit quicker, but I'll have to check.
Oh, and an off from Momeyer just as those two are battling going on by. Hairy moment. Thankfully, everybody keeps cool. And neither Boccignoni or Rondeau wind up in any peril as they come up over the hill. And we do have a black flag from Momeyer. That is likely for incident limits, considering he just had that off track now.
And so that'll send him down pit lane for a drive-through. You hate to see that, but we talked about it early, Joe, and he's got to be careful. 10 more after this, and he will get another one.
So he's got to be careful in a big way, because it's not too difficult to get 10 incidents in 30 minutes, especially since the laps go by pretty quickly. Only about 1:20 for most drivers to cycle around here. Wow, look at how close Rondeau got under the braking. Well, we know where he's going to try and pass if he gets close enough.
Yeah, I think he knows his preferred area to try to get by, but my goodness gracious, really pushing his way through there, trying to see what he can do.
Doug goes defensive down into turn 1. This might make him slow off the corner, and it does. Here comes Rondeau. No, he is not willing to risk it. It is hard to go side by side up into turn 3, and he knows it.
Yeah, you do not want to get through there. It's a completely blind apex up and over that corner. You've just got to trust the car and the braking zone to make everything work out right. And so Rondeau going to have to try to get this done at a different area, but he's closing down here again as they go into turn 6.
Okay, can he get a better run? Last time, once again, under braking, almost actually pushing him through the corner, and that hurt his exit. It looks like that turned from a very good moment to a very poor moment for the 171.
Yes, it did, but he's still got plenty of time to try to gather this back up under him, and crucially, he's under 0.5 of a second, so he'll get a nice tow from that draft, poking his nose to the outside a little bit. I think just trying to get into the head of Doug if he can.
All right, coming up and over the hill once again. And he's close. Last time he didn't try into turn 3. Could he try into turn 1? We've seen plenty of passes into there over the years. He's going to look for it. Braking hard, sends it in deep, and he's through, just barely almost coming together with the bright green number 59. And Mark Rondeau finally gets himself 8th place.
That was a gutsy move there from Mark Rondeau, paying out in spades. Almost contact there between the two, but just managing to avoid it. Good heads up from both drivers.
Absolutely. And impressively, the pace of Leighton means that these two are not too far away from being lapped. We've got Jeffrey Shulam, the next one up. He's in 10th place, and then it's Doug and Mark that will be overtaken by Tom Leighton. How many drivers will actually manage to complete every lap of this race? Also, we talked about Latvala earlier and where he sits in terms of our podium. He's actually, well, he's 19 seconds. So he's way off the lead. We said it was 23 seconds at the start. He's definitely dropped there. But I think he's gained a little bit on Michael Ost. Granted, that's going to be a very tough one for him to close it in and try and take a podium. Again, I think 5th place is probably the most likely for him. Oh, Latvala is in.
I think they must have limited the fuel.
No, it's a meatball flag. How did Corey get a meatball flag? He must have hit something when we weren't looking.
He's got some pretty serious damage to the rear end of that car, Joe. Let's go and check out the replay here. This is coming down. Oh, is this turn 5 catching him out? I think it is. Good line in and just catches the grass.
No, just understeered out to it. Now, the good news for him is he had a spare car. If we come back live, he just made contact with Jim Walsh. Thankfully, did not cause a wreck. Oh, man. Big hit. He still had a spare car, and he used that up. Actually used up his second one. So both of the chambers are empty in that gun. And he's back out, but he did lose positions. He's down to 11th, and he's now a lap down.
Yeah, so he is going to be in a world of trouble there. Oh, you hate to see that for Corey, who was running such a great race.
So he will get, I think, a spot here. No, Walsh is behind him. We've got a black flag for Jim Walsh for too many incidents. So he's going to have to come down pit lane as well. Hopefully we don't get anybody DQ'd because of too many incidents. That would not be fun to see, as once again, Baccignone and Rondeau still giving us one of the better battles on the track as the sun sets under the glowing Georgia sky.
Yeah, indeed. And this is the part of the race we haven't really talked about it. With the setting sun here, the track temperatures are going to be a little bit cooler. And so drivers may have set up the car to perform a little bit better later on in the race. And you can see it's dipping down to about 70 degrees Fahrenheit out on track. It started at about 72, 73. As that temperature continues to dip, we will see what happens.
Will anybody start to come to the fore here in the dying moments of this race? And we have another issue on pit entry here with Jim Walsh. Trying to see. I'm not seeing anything on the way into the pits. I think he just slowed up. Yeah, I think he slowed up to let cars by since he knew he had the penalty to serve. Oh, as a little bit of action here. Coming down into the braking. That is Shulam and Bolton.
Ooh, getting a little bit spicy there as they go. Some more battles starting to rage off here in the closing stages of this race.
What's amazing is I was looking through just now to see if we had any hard chargers. We have numerous cars tied for hard charger at 3 positions gained, but nobody more than that. In fact, there's far more drivers that seem to have fallen down a lot of spots, if anything. And then the podium sits exactly as it was when they gridded up this evening.
Yeah, exactly. You never know what's going to happen here, Joe. Everything just very, very crazy. Oh, my goodness. This is why I love covering endurance races. You just never know what's going to fire off.
Love to see that we get a battle down towards the end of this 90-minute event. Mayorga not involved in it. He's in the blue car. And having taken some repairs, but not his spare car, he's still a little bit slow. Is he going to let them by? Oh, he almost drifted over a little bit. You got to watch out for that. Can't move over, and he is going to pull between them, much to the dismay of Bolton, who's going to have to check up a little bit off into the grass. There goes Sam. The 14 does not wreck the car. Bolton still in it. And, well, Walsh is into pit lane again. We just went by him as you can see him in the background, having to serve another penalty, strangely.
Yeah, he's just picking them up here left, right, and center, it seems like, as we jump back to that battle with Rondeau and Baccignoni as they continue to go around here. Baccignoni not giving this up. Oh, and Lotfala around again.
So it looks like Walsh now serving a drive-through penalty. So whatever happened there, he didn't seem to have it count last time. So, yeah, I think because he took service, the black flag was not served, and he had to come back through. So Momeyer might be the next one that gets a drive-through penalty because he's already had one. And here, facing backwards. So, excuse me, that wasn't Momeyer. That was Lotfala.
Yeah, looks like he just lost it coming up over turn one.
This is an un-Lotfala-esque drive today. Just too many mistakes, and unfortunately that puts him down in 12th. I know he lacked practice, but I guess this is something to note for the future. Bookmark that one. If Corey does not get in and get enough time with the car track combo, he might struggle just a little bit. It's not even going to be a top 10 for him, so very few points to his name as we head back to Rondeau once again, sitting in 7th place, being hounded by Doug Baccignoni.
Yeah, this battle just not going away. And now they're coming up on Slavic, some lap traffic. Now, hopefully Jim's going to get out of the way and not put up too much of a block here in the course of this battle. But we will have to see what fires off here. Doesn't look like Slavic is going to be moving out of the way quite yet. No, he's going to stay on the braking line. That's going to check up Rondeau, and he is going to be side by side with Slavic as they go through. Baccignoni now trying to go by.
Oh, Baccignoni getting held up coming off the corner big time as they come down to the start-finish line. Is Slavic going to pull off to the side yet again? Showing his nose. Baccignoni once through. Early braking from Slavic. Nicely done. There you go as he almost gets into the back of him in the process. A little bit of a blink from Rondeau in front of them. Thankfully, it looks like that is settled right away. So a little time lost for Doug, not massive amounts, but considering how he hasn't been able to find a way by, this will cost him time that he's got to try and reel back in.
Yeah, so he's going to try to pull this back in here. Thankfully, he's only about 7.5 tenths of a second off right now, so he'll still be in the draft coming off of turn 7. He's just got to try to make the most of it here.
Yeah, it looks like a good exit coming off of turn 7. So Doug will gain just a little bit. Not enough yet. Seems like he doesn't really have a significant pace advantage over that 83 or that 171 as it is right now. The 83 is actually Jad Duncan in front of him. Actually, that's a fairly good improvement from the 83. I don't think we've talked about this for quite some time. Remember, he had the damaged car, so driver after driver pass him by, and now that he's taken the spare car and is back up to speed, he's sitting in 6th position. He is still a net gain of 1 position to where he began this race.
Yeah, that's a very impressive drive there from Jad. I've got to give him some pretty massive kudos as he does that. I mean, just remarkable to be back up in the top 10 after we saw him fall all the way through the field.
Great stuff. So 7 seconds up to Paul Newton. Don't know if he can get a top 5 out of this one, but you never know. Newton could make a mistake in these last stages. Still 21 cars running out on track. We've had some problems with some black flags lately, but it's only Larry Haas that has ended it earlier. And Rondeau versus Baccignoni has been the entertainment for the evening. As you can tell, the lights have been on for some time now. It is firmly getting into the nighttime here in Georgia. As we now hop on board And look at this. Boccignone is now definitely within slipstream distance. He has cut that down. Does he start to attack once again?
I've got to think he does. He is going to be very aware of that clock, does not want to let it get too far ahead of him. And thankfully for this battle, Duncan's about 7 seconds ahead of them. They're side by side coming up through turn 1.
Ooh, almost was able to get that one, but not quite. Rondeau will stay ahead.
We ride on board the hood here of Tom Layton, your leader, who is having a popcorn position in this battle. He's got to be careful, doesn't want to get in the middle of this, and doesn't want to take any unnecessary risks, even though he still has about a 13-second advantage.
Yeah, he's got to be aware of what's happening with these two. Check his relative box, and yeah, ooh, it was a little sketchy coming off the corner, but the two managed to retain control. Boccignone holding off to the side. If I'm Doug, I'm almost maybe thinking, let's pull in behind and try and use him to bump draft and pick up a little bit. Yeah, there he goes. There he goes. He gets in behind him now. And, well, that was a little too late, though. He's not going to get much speed out of it.
The question here is going to be, though, is if Layton's going to be a little bit tentative to make the pass. The only real opportunity he's going to have for the next couple of corners to get this move done on Rondeau is going to be up into turn 1, and I don't think he's quite got the speed here to be able to do it. So if Boccignone can just kind of check himself up behind here a little bit, that can still pay dividends for him.
Let's see as they continue on, and unfortunately they're in the more single file portion of the track. Ting Nguyen finds herself off to the side. Another incident there through turn 3. Oof, a lot of curb on the inside there for our leader. And he's going to pull off to the left-hand side. Rondeau, is he going to let him through? He's actually defending on him. Is he aware that this is the leader?
I would hope so, as that's not going to be looked exactly great on the stewards. There's Boccignone getting that draft that we talked about. Now, this is going to pull him up behind. Rondeau's got to be careful here. There goes Layton to the inside. There goes Boccignone trying to get a 2-for-1.
Oh, no. Lifting here was probably the worst decision. He's going to try and cover the inside. Boccignone, moves across and has to check up. I thought for sure he'd have a great chance to try and take the spot.
I thought he would indeed, but remember, he lost a lot of time as a result of Layton being in the middle, and look how close he was behind. We've seen him be aggressive into turn 1. Could he do it again here?
He starts to fall back a little bit. Oof, but he's good on the brakes coming into the corner. Gains a lot of time on the purple and red 83 or 171. So, this is Dung Nguyen once again. Off of turn 5. Self-spin here. Once again going a little too wide off the corner. Just caught the curb wrong, and it spit him across the track.
Yeah, so he is just having a rough night here. The last car running on the track currently, with Larry Haas having DQ'd earlier from this race. There you can see him off there. This could be a good run for Boccignone, only about 2.5 tenths behind.
He's tried it once, couldn't make it stick. Can he go again? Yep, he's going to get to the inside. No defense, interestingly, from Marc Rondeau. Breaking deep down into the corner. Boccignone manages to get ahead. Oh, Rondeau's got to get a slowdown from that one. He does. Slowdown penalty for the 171, and that puts paid to that battle.
All right, so our closest battle out on track now finally separated out a little bit as he is able to get on by Doug Boccignone. A very, very good, persistent drive. That's exactly the kind of stuff that I talk about here, Joe, in an endurance race, when it's not necessarily like just trying to get that move as quickly as possible, but it's just the slow and steady progression lap after lap.
13 minutes now left to go. That took our last battle that is within about a second of one another. Everybody else is just spread apart. There you see our leader, Tom Layton, 12.2 seconds. I think some of that might be the traffic that has kept him from getting farther ahead, unless he's just managing the gap here at this point as well. Although Travis Brown himself has had to hustle through a lot of cars. In fact, he's doing that right now in the number 300 as we see our leader come down into the braking zone. These two, though, there is Travis Brown. He's 30 seconds ahead of Michael Ost, so even more so than Michael, Travis has been frighteningly quick here today. Tom Layton might look fast, but you can't count Travis Brown out, as he's 4th in the points, let's not forget. So he is also close. In fact, he might also be jumping Michael Johnson. He's going to get 15 points. Johnson looking at a 4th place, which is 10 points. So no, I don't think he's going to jump him. But Johnson will definitely lose the points lead.
Yeah, indeed he will, Joe. But one thing is for sure, it's a very, very long season, so lots to still be decided around here. Very, very competitive season, more than we've seen really in the past from the POC. Just absolutely tooth and nails up at the top.
There's Johnson completing yet another lap. And here's we sit on board with Tom Layton. He's been the man to beat. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He took the pole position. He has led every single lap. So I think we could learn a thing or two, DJ. Why don't we ride on board and talk us around of what makes a race winner?
Well, it's going to start here on the exit of turn 10. You've got to let the car run out a little bit wide before cutting back there. That maximizes your momentum. And now you cross over the start-finish line. Keep your car all the way over to the left here. You'll see the pavement dip away there. If you're pushing, you can let it go. Just a little bit of a tap on the brakes to be able to bring it up through turn 1. Now, blind up into 2 and 3. You brake as soon as you start to see the curbing. Cut the curb there on 3, and let the car go down. Now, let the camber of these corners guide you down through the S's, a little bit of the curb, and hard onto the brakes, and then let the car coast its way around until you get onto the throttle there for turn 5. Careful not to take too much of that exit. Now you get to breathe. Hard onto the brakes coming down into turn 6, but not too hard. You want to carry good momentum, keep it in 3rd or 4th gear. Now down into 1st as you go through turn 7 and absolutely nail that acceleration zone out of the back straightaway here. Now it's your first real time to breathe at Road Atlanta. Check your dials. Check that everything is doing okay in the car. Take a moment to relax your fingers a little bit before you bring the car back over to the right and get ready to get heavy onto the braking zone about the 150-meter board. Bring it on down. Trail brake ever so slightly to get that car rotated, and then a little bit of blip of throttle before you get into turn 10B, and then all the way onto it here to be able to bring you back around onto the main straightaway, and that is the lap of a race winner at Road Atlanta.
He hasn't won this one yet, but he did win the last round, looking to get back-to-back here, as Tom Layton still sits at about 12.5 seconds ahead of Travis Brown for now. And for a moment, I was actually kind of watching as we were doing that lap that Rondeau and Boccioni had gathered within a second of one another, but they spread apart once again. They're still our closest out of the field. There you can see both of them in the same picture, up and across the treacherous turn 5. Bit of calamity corner here today, no doubt, having gobbled up a number of cars. Still no other DNFs that we've witnessed in the meantime. And I'm seeing, let's see, we're down to 6 cars left on the lead lap. Chad Duncan is the last of them, and he might not actually remain on the lead lap because Tom Layton is within a few seconds of him.
Yeah, this could remain a little bit close. Oh, is that another off in the back for Slavic? I believe it is.
No, that's Latvala, I think, is it? Oh,
no,
excuse me.
Latvala going by him.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah, you're right. Slavic. 2 very similarly painted cars there with the red and the black, and Slavic falls down to 14th now. Oh, and Schulem just got by Fulton into the chicane. And that was an aggressive move. They were actually banging doors to make this one happen. So they have not lost any energy and verve here at the end of this race. And the battle is on. This is to decide the last of the top 10.
It is indeed. Fulton trying to follow along behind here in that new livery for him, trying to see if he can get anything on Shulem right now. Close behind. He's just going to want to keep everything nice and tight here. Careful through turn 5. That's a little bit, flirting with disaster was BJ Fulton. Here he comes on the charge.
He's got the speed, but he's around the outside of turn 6, and he takes it. Can he keep it on the track? Yes, he does. The outside of turn 6. I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen that pass successfully made. And Fulton is now added to that list. But here comes Shulem getting the slipstream, ready to fight back.
Indeed, he's about 0.4 of a second away, starting to pull that down a little bit more. I don't think he's going to be close enough here, but if Shulem can try to keep this close, maybe force a little bit of an error as they dive down, that's a lapped car in front of them and almost collecting Shulem.
Walsh having more issues here. And we're hearing that there's something with Leighton. He just went by now. I think, yeah, so that was Walsh spinning in front of Leighton, and I think that's the notification that we're getting there. So Leighton managing to thankfully get through that without any incidents.
So Leighton here has a relatively clean track in front of him. The next car he has up to lap will be, it looks like P6 of Jad Duncan and Paul Newton shortly up ahead of him there.
My apologies, I confused Leighton with Lotville there. So Leighton did indeed have an incident. Momeyer making contact with him, getting the black flag. Cost him some of the time. Here's the replay. It'll be happening into turn 3. And just from Momeyer having a moment in front of him and tries to come back onto the track in a bad way. Little bit of a touch, but a tiny one. So twice now in this race, Tom Leighton has nosed into another car and got away lucky.
Very lucky indeed. Oh my goodness, incredibly fortunate there that he has been able to avoid that.
In fact, Dong Nguyen has a black and orange flag, so he's got to come in for repairs or else he's going to get DQ'd. Momeyer, as I mentioned, has a black flag for incidents, and Michael Roban does as well. So the 929 now coming in. There you see him right there into pit lane. Is Momeyer already in? Yeah, Momeyer's already in. Now, these are supposed to be a drive-through, but Momeyer's in his pit stall. And we saw before that some drivers, unfortunately, found themselves forced to come down a second time because you're not allowed to come in for pit service when you serve a black flag.
Exactly, and that catching a couple of drivers out, unfortunately. Leighton here, under 5 minutes to go. He's not having to worry about any of that. He is just trying to keep all 4 on the road here for what I imagine will be probably 3-4 more laps.
Yeah, I think you're right. 4 laps, likely it. Minute 20 around here and about 4.5 minutes. Actually, it's probably close to 5 minutes as he crossed the start-finish line. Weaving it down through the S's. One thing I do love that they've done here in the sim at Road Atlanta is they've added lighting, night lighting. We didn't have that up until this past year at this track like they do in the real world, and it definitely adds another element, a different aura to this place.
Yeah, it certainly does, Joe, and it's not like necessarily Daytona where it's all perfect all the way around. It's sporadic, and so it changes the way you have to drive. There are parts of the track that you're driving complete darkness. There are parts that do have good lighting. Ooh, that's the number 6 off.
So that's Beckner. Beckner was trying to recover after being the one that started that lap 1 incident. And he just touched the grass. Looks like he spun it off at turn 3. Thankfully did not hit anything. He carries on in 13th place.
All right, so he will be able to carry on, and most of our battles here really starting to die out over the course of the ending of this race. Not really trying to do much of fighting.
Tom Layton now, let's see, will he get? No, he's not going to get the white flag next time by. It'll be close, but he'll get 2 to go. And he's got to continue on with this pace. As we check in on Boccignone, who's definitely dropped Rondeau. It's 4.5 seconds between those two now. So Boccignone, first one a lap down. Is Duncan going to get lapped? He might be able to get away on the lead lap. We might wind up with 6 cars here. There he is on screen right now. That is not Paul Newton in front of him. That's a lapped car. That's Michael Robin, who looks like he is not going to fight this. He sees the blue flag. He's going to let him through. And easy done there. So now behind them, Tom Layton as well through the chicane to the line. Yeah, just a little over 2 minutes on the clock. And Layton will cross with a handy popsicle sticks of 2 to go.
Indeed, he will. And looking up the road, he is going to have to navigate around Tingnawan. That will be a slower car there. I imagine he'll have to get around Robon as well. So a little bit of drama that he's still going to have to navigate here before he can bring this thing home for good.
Let's hope that he can manage to avoid any pitfalls here. Is Latvala catching up to Shulam? Remember, he's had so much go wrong. He's got to be much faster than those that's around him. If he's got 2 to go right now, he's got a 1.5 seconds to make up. He could maybe move back into 11th here.
Yeah, he might be able to catch this up by the end of the race. It's not out of the realm of possibility with 2 laps left to go, but he is really going to have to dig.
Oh, he's digging too much. He's going to go around. Thankfully, does not hit anything this time, but is he clear? Yes, thankfully, nobody coming up to him, and he is able to get it rolling. Doesn't even lose a position. Beckner was a little too far back behind him. Here is our leader. Tom Layton sees the white flag being waved from the stand by Barty. 1 to go to be the first driver this season to take more than 1 victory.
Indeed, just a couple of more corners here to navigate, and only the 17th place machine of Michael Robon really standing in his way. Robon, an experienced driver. I've got to imagine he'll get out of the way for him there as they make their way down the S's now.
So as they come off of turn 5, just in front of him, Michael Robin. Again, not fighting anybody. Does he try and let him through nice and safely? Or does he try and stay ahead just to get 1 more lap around here before this race is over onto the backstretch? If he does want to be lapped, this is probably the place to do it. Let's see. Yep, he wants to be lapped. He is going to lift and let him through. Tom Layton. We knew from the very first race that this is a man to watch. He was as quick as the quickest drivers in this series. It took him 3 rounds to finally get the victory. Had a little bit of bad luck, but now that he's got 1, he's got 2 back-to-back. Is this a bad omen for all of his rivals? Because now they are coming on strong as Tom Layton wins in Road Atlanta.
Wins the endurance round by a whopping 10 seconds over Travis Brown. Brown just now coming through the final corner. Now he will take the checkered flag from Barney. There he goes after a good battle with Michael Ost earlier on. Ost there in the 73 making his way down the backstretch.
And he didn't have it all his own way. He's obviously had a few problems battling with Brown and then for a brief while with Johnson. But Johnson held on. It was almost 3 seconds here at the finish. So he was threatening. If Ost had any sort of spin, you know that the 9 would have gobbled that one up. But it's going to be another missed podium for Michael Johnson. But celebration today for Ost with a finish that he has been desiring in these first 3 rounds but could not get, as he gets to spray the champagne. And only 6 cars are on the lead lap here today as Jad Duncan is going to follow them home. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the unofficial results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
This is iRacing, the world's premier online racing game. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat to experience today's newest form of competitive motorsport, virtual racing, all from your home PC. Race virtually in enduro series from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, Aussie Supercars and more. Take on legendary circuits like Daytona, Silverstone and the Nürburgring. Join iRacing's global online racing community and get on track today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Road Atlanta. We just saw round 4 in the Porsche Owners Club Series, and today's Enduro saw Tom Layton get victory number 2 in a row. Scampered away with it, had a few scares along there, but it was a handy 11 seconds at the line. Travis Brown just didn't seem to have the pace for him, and he finished second where he started. Same thing with Michael Ost, who was third today and last on the podium. Michael Johnson up 1 to 4th as Paul Newton, same deal, up 1 to 5th, and Jad Duncan followed that pattern from 7th to 6th, but he was the last one on the lead lap. It was Doug Boccignoni winding up in 7th today. Mark Rondeau was P8, exactly where he started, and Michael Bolton was 9th. Backwards for BJ Fulton from 4th to 10th.
Jeffrey Shulam up 1 to come home in 11th, followed by Corey Lotvala, who had an up and down day really all the way through. Andrew Beckner came home in 13th, followed by Jim Slavic, the first driver, 2 laps down. Sam Mayorga behind him with Aaron Edwards and Michael Roban. John Momeyer was 4 laps down. Ting Nguyen and Jim Walsh round out your top 20.
Then from there, 21st was Dong Nguyen and Larry Haas, 22nd. Del Toro did not start this race, but it looks like Tom Layton, who started it in first and finished it in first, is ready to talk to us about win number 2 in this season, and it's now starting to come together. Tom, a longer event tonight, but it seemed you always had it under control, led every single lap. You didn't have it not mistake-free. I shouldn't put it that way. It wasn't without scares. Let's put it that way. A couple contacts with other cars at moments. Did you feel any effects from that, or did the thing feel perfect the whole way?
No, thankfully, even though I got a 4X there at first and a 0X later on, my speed down the straights was always fine, so the car was always okay, thankfully.
By my calculations, I believe you're going to take the points lead from here. Do you think that you can retain that pretty easily? Because it looks like you're starting to get momentum in your favor.
Yeah, I hope so. I clearly have really good competition here. So I'm going to try my best, but I'm looking forward to whatever comes of it.
How much experience do you have with these enduros? Because obviously it's a very different beast doing a 90-minute versus the 30s that we usually have. And do you expect to continue to do this well in the remaining enduros for the season?
Yeah, well, the enduros are really fun. A few weeks ago, I did the Daytona 24 with a team of autocrossers from here in SoCal. So I think I put in about 4 hours of drive time during that. And so, hour and a half doesn't feel too bad.
I can only imagine. Again, congratulations on the victory. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, thanks to FR Sport for their support, and just thanks to the other competitors for providing a lot of fun here.
That was our winner, Tom Layton, taking the victory here at Road Atlanta ahead of Travis Brown, who DJ has caught up with, finishing about 11 seconds behind.
Indeed, Travis, not quite enough to catch into Tom Layton, although it does look like you were gaining on him at the end, but some fantastic battles with Michael Ost out there.
Looks like we might not get to talk to Travis. Oh, we're let's try it one more time.
Travis, can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha.
All right. Well, not quite enough speed to catch up to Tom today, but some great battles with Michael Ost out there. And talk me through this long enduro.
Yeah, no, it was hats off to Tom. He was definitely locked in and just super consistent and fast the whole time. So I was going to have to play a strategy of some fuel saving. So I was working that pretty hard in the beginning and still able to hang for a bit. But then he just kind of checked out and said, see you later. But Ost and I had a super fun battle. And I was happy to let him go by, but then had a little over under with some lap traffic. And then at one point I didn't want him to send it, and so I tried to cover off the inside, but he ended up, still getting through there, and then had some fun little door rubbing there, but all good, all racing, and yeah, super fun. And after that, I was just trying to count the fuel, hoping I could get him back in the pits when Mike just had an unforced error. So all good.
Well, in terms of that fuel saving, I mean, obviously with the enduros here, that kind of changes everything. But were you really thinking about it pretty much every single lap, or were you going through stages of it over the course of the race?
Yeah, I mean, even from like lap one, I had started saving fuel. So that was my strategy coming into it, was to try and hang with Tom in the draft while saving fuel as long as I could. And then when he started getting around that 1 second mark, I did try to pick up the pace, but I think I had a little little error on my part, and Tom just said, see ya. So after that, then I just went back to my fuel saving strategy, and I was happy to tuck in behind Michael. And that's how it went.
Well, next time out, we go to Zandvoort, back to the traditional format. Are you looking forward to going back to the sprints and going to that track, or do you want some more enduros coming your way?
No, I'm definitely a sprint fan. The enduros are not my thing, so I'm very happy to finish on the podium. It's definitely about consistency. I know Tom does a bunch of, he's done some of the 24-hour team races and things, and he's fast no matter what anyway. So I knew he'd be super, challenge to even take it to him this week. But my goal was met on the podium. So the sprints, I think, are more back in my wheelhouse. So looking forward to it for sure.
Well, all right then, my friend. Anybody you want to thank for this second place run today?
I got to thank Michael Ost. We had some fun battles. I was enjoying it, and as always, my wife, she makes it a priority to let me get some practice time in, and just it's a super fun hobby, and thankful for the camaraderie of the group. So, yep.
Well, thank you so much. That was Travis Brown, your second place finisher here today, and now, Joe, I believe you've caught up with our third place finisher, Michael Ost.
Indeed, and I'm curious what his feelings are about this third place, because for a while you were ahead of Travis, you made a good pass, and then you had that spin early in the race. If it wasn't for that, do you think you maybe could have taken P2?
Yeah, I mean, no, P2 was there, and I lost P2 all on my own. And Travis, true professional driver, fun to race. We were having a great battle. I just, at the beginning of the race, I was laying back, saving gas, and then I realized Leighton was getting away, and then I realized that Travis and I were on two different strategies, and I was like, I gotta move. It's time to go. And so I went for a pass, and I got it done, and then I made a mistake. Turn one, when it gets off camber, it's a tricky turn, and I was trying to make time, and I paid for it.
Indeed. We noticed a lot of the drivers decided not to take tires. What motivated you to try and run the whole 90 on the same set?
Because the drop off wasn't so drastic that it was worth the time of changing the tire. If I just felt you lost too much time changing the tires. I mean, yeah, it was much harder to drive. You definitely, the Delta was definitely slipping the whole way, but I just didn't think it was worth it.
And that indeed.
And plus, in all honesty, it was actually becoming nighttime, and the track was actually getting a little bit more sticky. It was actually getting colder. And so more grip was actually coming to the track as the tires went away. And so I just didn't feel like it was worth it.
That's a good point. We hadn't considered that as well. But next round, we're heading off to Zandvoort. That's going to be a very technical track. Have you raced there before? And are you looking forward to it, or is it not one of your favorites?
I'm looking forward to it. We had the 4 Drink Friday at that track. Of course, it was in the Global Rallycross cars, and it was a bit different, but It's a really, really fun, highly technical track. It's just a giant autocross. It's so much fun.
All right. Well, anybody you want to thank for today's podium before you take off?
Yeah, I want to thank POC. I want to thank my family for letting me stay up until the middle of the night to do my racing and have my fun and not complaining. I want to thank, just generally all the racers. I mean, everybody's really professional. We all had a really good time. And, you guys, I want to thank GSRC for putting on the show. It's always fun to be able to watch it.
Well, thank you for the kind words. That was Michael Ost finishing third today. Up next, though, DJ's caught up with Michael Johnson, who was just off the podium.
I have indeed, Michael. A good run out there, just off it, but it looked like you were putting in some good times.
I was trying to remain as absolutely steady as I could through the whole race. I wanted to set up the car in a way that I could just tick off times right at a couple of tenths off of each other. Here and there, traffic came in, but for the most part, I think I was within a couple of tenths every lap.
Well, in terms of that setup, you and I were talking a little bit before the race about trying to go for maybe some increased downforce or trying to get the best run down the straightaway. What did you end up going for, and do you think it ended up working out for you?
I went with a little bit heavier downforce. The wing will go up to a 10, I think, and I was running 8. So it was pretty heavy. And the thing I noticed in one of our earlier races is if I tried to run very little wing, the slip angle on the tires just got really difficult to control, almost like a street tire when they were getting down to 40% or so towards the end of the race. And when I ran it with a higher downforce, I got less tire wear because I wasn't sliding the tires as much. And I had better control throughout the race. And so I ran that high medium is kind of high downforce, and I think it worked out kind of like I wanted. Maybe some traffic got in the way to spoil my ultimate plan, but yeah, I think it worked out all right.
Well, I'd certainly say it did. A P4, nothing to shake a stick at. Anybody you want to thank for the run today?
Well, of course, the sponsors, Simply, Fix Vodka, T-Mobile for Business, Truffle Shuffle, Freedom Supercars, of course, POC, GSRC. I mean, the broadcasts are so great. I joined you, so I are one, and I love the way the broadcasts look when my friends watch it and family watch it. They're absolutely blown away by how great it looks and how professional of a job everybody does. And so big kudos to you guys too.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, and we look forward to talking to you again here soon. That was your 4th place finisher, Michael Johnson. And now, Joe, you've caught up with the last driver in our top 5, Mr. Paul Newton.
Indeed, Paul, for a brief while, you managed to get ahead of Michael Johnson, and then suddenly he got right back by. From there, it seemed like you really rode on his coattails, but what ultimately lost you that touch with him?
I think I might have just heated up the tires a little too much, tucking right in the slipstream with him. It was pulling me good down the straightaway, but I just had that little bit of aero push in the turns. So I think that made the difference. I short-filled to start the race, so I knew I had to make up all my pace, early in the going, and just couldn't get around him there.
It's unfortunate to see in the end as almost a 23-second gap back to him, but it is a top 5, and I guess a top 5 is a top 5, especially in an endurance race where it's so much more pressure to try and be consistent. Is this a pretty proud achievement, you'd say?
Oh, for sure. The level of competition in this group has gotten so much higher just this season. We've got, bigger fields than ever and more talent up at the front. So to get a top 5 with these guys, it's really something special.
Can only imagine. Well, I mean, congratulations on that. It seems like you're really coming into your own here in these GT3R cars. Is there anybody you want to thank that helped make this top 5 possible?
Sure. I want to thank Peel's California Mandarins and PaulNewtonDesign.com, and I want to thank the GSRC and the Porsche Owners Club for putting these events on.
Thank you very much. That was Paul Newton who managed to finish 5th out there today, up 1 position from where he began. We're going to close it out, though, after 90 minutes of racing. It's been a fun evening, but we need to thank the sponsors as well. Porsche, of course, being the main sponsor of this series, because there is no substitute. Find out more at Porsche.com. Sunset Mortgage. Don't put your money in the bank, be the bank. Check them out today at sunsetcash.net. And Octavio Tequila. Celebrate now. For a great tasting tequila, go to octaviotequila.com and purchase today. And Century Financial Consultants, making the rest of your life the best of your life. Check out their website at centuryretire.com. And thank you once again to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Check out her Bandcamp for more great work. And thanks to the team today, DJ, Zach, and Dougie. You can find more info about GSRC at globalsimracingchannel.com or through our social media. Also, don't forget to check out our merchandise store. It's gsrc.storeenvy.com, and there's a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment, because next time out, we're heading to Zandvoort. That'll be Monday, March 7th at 11 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.